Welcome to another episode of Smalls That Sell and Making Money with Woodworking, a series all about breaking down what's hot and trending in the big box stores so you can make these yourself at home while putting your twist to it. So are you ready to get started? Let's dive into this first one. So for this first one, I've seen several different styles of this, but this one caught my eye. And that's this Farmhouse blue wooden trug or toolbox. So I'm really not sure what a trug is. I'm assuming that it's something that you carry around to store stuff in just because this is a toolbox, but yeah. If you have any clue what a trug is, drop it down into the comments because I honestly don't. But anyway, I'm just going to call this a toolbox. So what caught my eye about this? I've seen tons of these over the years, but none of them were blue. So whenever I typically think of these old wooden toolboxes, I'm thinking, just like a rustic wooden toolbox. No colors at all. But honestly, even people with a really rustic looking decorating theme going on need a little color. And personally, I think this looks pretty awesome. So we'll get into the painting of this a little bit more after we break this down. Okay, so the crazy thing about this build is they're wanting $475 for this. All right, so this thing is super cool, but it's not that cool, at least not in my opinion. Obviously, they're selling these things or it wouldn't be on the front page. So let's go and break it down. All right, so they have used 1x material for this entire build except for the sides. So it looks like 3/4 inch material for the ends, top, inside, things like that, and probably 1/2 inch material for these sides. You can either use some scrap that you have laying around or fence pickets. I wouldn't use the pickets for the ends of this because you want something wider and a solid board look. Okay, so what sizes are these ends? This entire box is right around 16 inches long and 9 inches wide. So with the sides nailed to the outsides of these ends, that tells me that these end boards are right around 8 inches wide. I would say as far as the height for this entire box, it's probably around 16 inches. So you need to cut your ends at 15 1/4 inch tall. All right, so right now you have an 8 by 15 1/4. Now let's go ahead and put these angles on our sides. And these angles is what actually gives this thing its super cool look. I would say that these side angles go about halfway down. So go ahead and mark both sides of your boards at the halfway point. And then the top looks to be about 2 inches wide in the very center. So go ahead and mark the top at the very center point. Then measure out 2 inches on each side, make new marks. The 2 outside marks at the top, connect those with the 2 marks in the center, take a circular saw and whoop, that's it. Now don't worry too much about getting these cuts absolutely perfect. You have to think, now back in the day, these were cut with a handsaw, and when you're making vintage looking products, you can get these things too perfect. All right, so we have our 2 angles cut. Now what about this little V-shaped angle at the very bottom? If it were me, I'd measure over to the very center of the bottom of my end board, measure up 2 inches, make a mark, then back at the bottom, measure 2 inches over from each side of my bottom mark. Then connect those 2 lines up to the center. Then use a jigsaw to cut that out. And then, voila, you have the 2 ends. Voila. Voila. Like, what does that eat? Like, I know what voila means. Like, it's just a noise you make for showing something. Voila. If you say it slow, it's a weird word. Voila. Anyway, so now that we have our 2 ends, the next step is going to be to attach the bottom of this thing. And you really can't see it in these pictures, but based on the dimensions that we're working with, the bottom is going to need to be 8 inches wide and 14 1/2 inches long. Once you have that cut, you'll just sandwich it in between our 2 ends, right at the top of where we cut our notches, so about 2 inches up. And go ahead and attach that using some brad nails. Now let's go ahead and install these sides. Now there's a couple of different options that you can do for these sides. If you notice, they've actually used 2 different strips here, and that's a part of the look. This would look totally different with just one solid board on the side. The only way I'd really use a solid board here is, let's say that there's a big chunk off of one of the edges. You'll actually want to use that and use it at the top. That would really add to this rustic look. Let's say that we're going to stick with this 2-board look. I'd use maybe like a 4 inch by 16 inch board for my bottom, leave about a 1/2 inch gap, then put a 2 inch by 16 inch board on top. Now that our sides are on, if you'd like one of these little divider boards inside, let's go ahead and put that in. Now this would be 8 inches wide by maybe 5 inches high. The way that they have it, it's not going to quite meet at the top, which again is on purpose and pretty cool look. And honestly, you could place that about anywhere inside of this box and it's going to look good. Now the only thing left would be for this handle, and this is one thing that I would personally change. Okay, so this one is at least 2 inches wide, which is pretty wide for a handle. Like, that would be uncomfortable to grab. So in my opinion, that's something that they wouldn't have done a long time ago. But if you want to do it just like this, your board needs to be 2 inches wide by 16 inches long. I would make mine 2 inches wide on the sides, then kind of narrow down to 1 inch in the center. That would just make more sense. Whenever you go to sand and distress this, really sand on that very center part to kind of make it look like that it's worn. And then, voila. This thing is together and ready to paint. Okay, so have you ever noticed that just about everything that is painted to look vintage pretty much uses kind of dull colors? Nothing's ever really bright. And probably the most important thing, use a matte finish. Okay, so no really shiny finishes on anything like this because that can really take away from the look. And get creative with the colors. This would look really good in like a vintage green or a burnt red. And I really think that by offering these in several different vintage colors, you can really sell these things. All right, so this next one, we're going to stick with that vintage look, but it's going to be for someone with a totally different type of decoration theme. And that's going to be for the nautical look. So we've covered several different builds for this nautical look because this look is popular. It's always been popular, kind of like the rustic look. And by putting together these two styles, you're kind of expanding your customer base to both. Now this one's not really rustic, but I would still consider it vintage. And that's these buoy boards. Okay, so these things are super simple to make. This is an awesome build to get rid of your scrap wood pile and have some fun with it. Okay, so to me, this is more of like a retro look. I know you've heard me talk about it before because all this stuff is becoming popular again, but the 80s, not a good time for style. But to each their own. All right, so you guys can probably easily break this down yourself. Mainly just wanted to run this idea past you because again, it's a great way to get rid of your scrap wood. You can basically use any width board that you would like and then leave about an inch of your square edge at the top and then put any type of an angle here that you'd like. And the cool thing is that you can change this up. So the main thing with these is going to be how you decorate these things, how you paint these things up, because essentially that's what's moving these things. Okay, so look at this one with the number 2 on it. All right, so if you take that 2 off, it's just a board hanging there. With the 2, it's a buoy. Magic. But I do like how they added the numbers to these things. And of course, anything with stripes is going to be hot. But before you add any of this, go ahead and get your board distressed up the way that you would like it. And you'll do that by staining your boards. Then once that's dry, just pull out your painter's tape and some paint and go to town. And then as far as hanging these things, if you notice at the very top of these things, they've used a little metal bracket. Now you could build these without that bracket at all. Just drill a hole through the side of this, run a rope through that, or try to think of something that you could use to replace this metal bracket. To me, it kind of looks like a mending plate that somebody's bent. So you could find a thin mending plate, attach it to one side, bend it over your flat spot, and then attach it to the other side. And then as far as the eye hook in the middle, just drill down through the very center and screw one in. But I think that the main thing with anything that's supposed to look like a buoy is going to be what you use to actually hang this with. Just like they've used, I'd use some jute cord or some rope. Regardless of how you decide to hang these, I'd make at least 3 different designs and sell those as a set. Now this set comes from Target, or as I like to call it, Target. That's French. No, honestly, I have no clue if it's French or not. It just sounds like a high-end boutique for these kind of prices because they're wanting $56 a set for these. Now that's not terrible. I'd probably aim for more around $40, but I'll leave that up to you and the market around your area. Okay, so this next one is a really cool build, a really cool idea. The main reason why I want to show you this one is to show you some tricks that are used for breaking it down. And that's going to be this leaning planter that uses the liners that you can buy from the store instead of actually building the boxes. Again, this is a cool build that I think would definitely sell. But oftentimes builds like this with several different angles will actually scare people off from trying it out. So whenever you first look at this, you may be thinking, okay, so we have a lot of different angles here. We've got an angle at the very bottom, and we've got a long angle here at the top. Then what about the boards that go through the legs? Where do you cut those holes? Because the planter boxes are leveled, but the legs are sitting at an angle. Well, all of that is actually super easy to figure out. Let me show you how. And for those of you that are actually wanting to build this, I would just use fence pickets for this entire build. The boxes themselves are pretty straightforward. You're just going to use butt joints. Then as far as the size, I would just make that custom to your liners. So buy your liners first and then just build this box up around it so that the frame of the liner sits right on the top. So the legs are where all the angles are at. Now we're not trying to figure out exactly what angle all of this stuff is. We're just trying to make this work. So I'm going to use this little piece of scrap board here just to kind of demonstrate with. And we're going to start with the angle at the very bottom of the leg. Now, I honestly have no clue what that angle is, but I kind of have an idea of how much that I would like this thing to lean. So on this particular board, I just cut a 20-degree angle on there, and it works out pretty good. Or let's say that we're starting from scratch here. You just put a 2x4 on the ground and take your board and just kind of lean it to wherever it looks good. Draw a line straight across your 2x4. Then take that to your miter saw, line that up in whatever angle that is. That's the angle you'll cut it at. So essentially you could build this entire thing without ever knowing what this angle actually is. Okay, so now that we have the bottom cut, what about this long angle here at the top? So we need this to sit flush with the ground, but we need that to be able to sit flush against a house or a fence. So let's say that we want our top to start about 1 inch from the edge. I'm just going to mark my starting point. Then with my leg flush on the ground, I'm just going to use something that's going to sit level on the ground as a guide and line that up with my mark. So basically this is going to be acting like our house or our fence. Once you get this lined up, I'm just going to draw a mark down the edge. So again, I have no clue what this angle is, but I know that I want it. So now with our top lined out, we can just take a circular saw and cut that out. Okay, so we have the top and bottom angles for this thing figured out. So what about the board that goes through our legs? As far as cutting that square out in your board, you're just going to pre-drill a hole and cut that out with a jigsaw once you get everything laid out. So as far as laying this out, how do you know where to drill your holes? So once you figure out the height of your 3 different sections, so let's just say that our 3 different levels are going to be 12 inches from each end and then 30 inches in the center. You start off by marking your legs at those 3 different heights. Then you need to figure out the angle to cut your notch at. Just put your leg back on the ground. Then we're going to use a little torpedo level at our mark. And then with your level, it's all that you have to do is draw a line. Follow this line whenever you go to cut your notch out. And that's going to ensure that your boxes are perfectly level. And that's it. I still have no clue what these different angles are, but I know that it works. So even if you're not interested in building this, keep those tips in the back of your mind for whenever you do find something that you want to build and may run into the same issues. And if you keep doing that, storing all these little tips and tricks as you go along, there'll be a point to where you can look at anything and say, I can build that. Okay, so this next one, the old PB, is selling for $220. And that's this bathtub caddy. Okay, so we covered a different style of bathtub caddy in the past, but this one popped up as a bestseller and it would be super simple to make. Okay, so there's a couple of different styles for these bathtub caddies. You either have your single plank board that goes across, or, like this one, strips of wood. Regardless of which one that you decide to build, they're super simple. So if I were building this one with the strips, I'd use 1.5 inch material and cut that into 1 inch strips. And then you'll use those strips for all of your parts. So it looks like we'll be needing 4 strips that are 34 inches long, and then 3 pieces of that exact same material that are 7 inches long. So I just lay my 4 34-inch strips out on a flat surface, place my 7-inch boards on top, one in the very center, and our 2 outsides about 4 inches from the ends, and then use equal spacing in between each one of those long boards to fit our 7-inch board. Then with all of that lined out, I would just pre-drill down through this connecting board into our long boards and counterbore each one. Throw some wood glue on the back of these and then use screws to connect. Now the main thing for this is going to be to make sure that your material is super smooth. You do not want any type of splinters involved with bathtubs. That could be bad. Now the OPB is wanting $220 a piece for these things, but as cheap and easy as these things are to make, honestly you could charge $30-40 a piece for these things and still make a good profit. Okay, so for this next one, to be completely honest, I'm not exactly for sure what they're used for. That's this scraper. But what I do know is that these things are popping up on all of the different sites and selling for $30-40 a piece. So from what I gather, this is kind of like a bowl scraper or a cutting board scraper. To be completely honest, I think that this is just a much cleaner, nicer version of a plastic scraper, and people are buying these things and just using them as decoration. But regardless of what they use them for, if I can get 30 or 40 bucks out of something that I can make out of scrap wood, I'm going to do it. All right, so the key for these things is going to be the type of wood that you use. So if you notice in these pictures, they're using nice hardwoods, and I really think that that is a huge selling point. But the awesome thing is, you can use your scrap boards. Okay, so these things would be super easy to make. You would start off with your little scrap wood, measure about 1 inch in from each edge at the top, and then draw a line down to your bottom edge. Something like this. And then you would just cut at those lines. Next, we would go ahead and cut out our place for our handle. So for that, I'd measure 3/4 of an inch down from the top, and then 1 inch below that line. And then from each side, I'd measure about 1/2 inch in. Now that we have our 4 different boundary marks marked out, I'd cut a 1 inch hole on each side, then use a jigsaw to remove the material in between. And while you're cutting that handle out with a jigsaw, just go ahead and round these outside corners over. Next, you'll sand everything up really nice. Then you'll need to put your scraping edge on the bottom. And I would start that out by putting a 45-degree angle on the end, then use your sander to blend that on up. And that's it. You've taken a piece of scrap wood and turned it into money. So the main thing that I want you to take away from today's video is that sometimes that it takes practice to break these things down. And the cool thing is that it doesn't cost you anything to practice. Even if you don't want to build some of these things, follow along with how they're broken down, put those little tips and tricks into your mental library, and pull them out the next time that you need it. So did you find something in today's video that you want to try out? Well, you know exactly what you need to do next. Get up, get out, and get your build on. Till next time, we'll see ya. Imagine taking a pile of wood and turning it into something amazing. Now, imagine doing that without years of frustration. You do not need a fancy workshop, expensive tools, or years of experience. With Woodworking Kickstart, you'll build confidence and real skills in no time. So you can spend years making mistakes and learning the hard way like I did, or you can start building with confidence today. So join me in Woodworking Kickstart and let's get your journey started.